Yakuza 0 is amazing! Oh my god! Recently, I began playing through the games in the Yakuza series, and I almost immediately fell in love with them. I'd always heard people say that these games are amazing, but the sheer amount of games, there's 8 mainline games and 2 spin-offs? What? And the length of some of the games was pretty daunting. But please, if you're thinking about starting this series, just go start playing Yakuza 0. It's only around $20 and it's often on sale, and if you're on Xbox, all the games are on the Games Pass. I just want more people to start playing these games. They've given me some of my favorite experiences while playing a game, and I think that's saying something. I don't think that there's many people who would regret their time with these games. They're just that good. So now I'm going to give you an extremely basic explanation of the first couple chapters of the story, because I think it's best to go in not knowing too much, so I'm going to keep it brief and simple. Set in December 1988, Kazuma Kiryu is a low-ranking Dojima family member living in Kamurocho, a fictional red light district in Tokyo based off the real-life Kabukicho district. One night, while collecting a debt for a loan shark, he's framed for the murder of the man he collected from. He then decides to leave the Dojima family to prove his innocence and also to protect the family's captain and his father figure, Shintaro Kazuma, who is currently in prison. He begins working with a real estate agent named Tetsu Tachibana, who has ties to Kazuma and claims that he can help prove his innocence. Meanwhile, in another city, Sotenbori, a fictional area of Osaka based on the real-life Dotonbori, Goro Majima is working as the manager of the Cabaret Grand. He's an ex-Yakuza who was banished and erased from the clan after betraying his superiors. After spending a year being tortured and getting one of his eyes gouged out, he was finally released into Sotenbori as prisoner, not allowed to leave the city. He is forced to use the Cabaret Grand to bring the clan 100 million yen in profits in order to be let back in the Yakuza, but it turns out he's just too good at making money. Even with popularity and riches, Majima is still unhappy, because all he wants is to be a Yakuza again, at whatever cost. After he reaches the 100 million yen quota, Tsukasa Sagawa, the man who has been monitoring Majima, raises the debt to 500 million, but also tells Majima that he can carry out a hit to immediately be let back into the clan. Even though Sagawa advises against it, Majima accepts the hit and begins looking for someone named Makoto Makimura. The story then takes many twists and turns as both Kiryu and Majima are drawn into a plot involving the Empty Lot, a small area sandwiched in between buildings in the alleyways of Kamurocho that is the key to turning massive profits for the clan. And that's where Kiryu was framed for murdering that guy. The story for Yakuza 0, in my opinion, is fantastic. It has some really emotional moments, good twists, and great villains. And the Majima side of the story is especially good. Other than the very good story, Yakuza 0 has so much side content and minigames, it's ridiculous. This is a game where you can finish a serious and sad story mission, then go sing karaoke, then go get into a street fight where you pretty much break every bone in a man's body, go manage a real estate business and get tons of money, and then go bowling to win a chicken that will manage said real estate properties. The fact that this game can balance so many conflicting tones and emotions and not give you tonal whiplash is impressive. There is so much to do in this game. Like sub-stories, which are basically side quests that are often very funny. Like there's one where a lady can't speak Japanese correctly, and Kiryu mistakes her asking for a visa as her asking for a pizza, and you have to deliver her a pizza before the pizza gets cold, and when Kiryu gives it to her, he's all like, "No, you don't have to share," as inspirational music is playing, and he smiles in triumph. Or another one where a woman approaches Majima begging him to pretend to be her boyfriend because she lied to her father and said her boyfriend was tall, thin, had a ponytail and an eye patch, and a dangerous air around him, somehow describing Majima perfectly. Or one where you have to help Steven Spielberg and Michael Jackson make the Thrill music video where Michael Jackson is moonwalking down the street and you have to protect him from zombies. It is insane and amazing, and I love it. And other than sub-stories, there's plenty of mini-games to have fun with. There's karaoke, disco, you can gamble by playing poker or betting on catfights? What? You can go play a bunch of classic arcade games, play pool and darts. You can go bowling or go to the batting cages. You can go to a telephone club and try to score a date, and when Kiryu answers the phone, he does this.
Moshi.
There's also a surprisingly in-depth pocket circuit racing minigame. Once you get a little bit through the game story, both Kiryu and Majima will get their own side businesses that each have their own storyline and will earn you plenty of money. Kiryu gets to manage a real estate business that I mentioned earlier, where you have to buy properties around town by showing a suitcase of money to the front door of a building, and then you just own it, and fight till you pretty much own the whole city. And Majima gets to manage the cabaret club Sunshine, where you hire and customize hostesses as you try to make it the #1 cabaret club in the city. The combat, of course, is also very enjoyable. Both Kiryu and Majima each have 3 unique fighting styles. Kiryu has the brawler style, an average fighting style with good power and speed, the rush style, which is very fast but has low damage and is easily blocked, and finally, the beast style, which is slow but hits real hard and allows you to automatically pick up weapons while attacking. If you choose to finish the Real Estate Royale storyline, you unlock the optional 4th combat style for Kiryu, the Dragon of Dojima style, which is probably the best and most balanced of all of his fighting styles. It hits hard, is pretty fast, and doesn't get blocked very easily. Now Majima, in my opinion, has much more fun and better fighting styles than Kiryu. He has the Thug style, which is the average fighting style just like the Brawler, the Slugger style, where Majima pulls out a baseball bat to whack people with, and finally, the Breaker style, where Majima breakdances to attack people, and funny enough, this is probably his best base fighting style. If you complete Majima's Cabaret Club storyline, you get his 4th fighting style, the Mad Dog of Shimano, which is my favorite by far. Majima pulls out his iconic Demon Fire dagger and just throws himself at people while swinging that thing. While you're fighting enemies, you charge up your heat meter, which at specific increments allows you to do a big flashy attack called a heat action that will deal big damage. Some heat actions are very cool and brutal and violent, like this one from the Dragon Stance.
Oh my god!
Or this one from the Mad Dog Stance, which is my favorite heat action. But some are also insane and hilarious, like this one where Majima catches a sword in his mouth. Or this one where Kiryu lifts a man above his head, jumps in the air, and slams their head on the ground. God. So, In conclusion, Yakuza 0 is an incredible game that, to anyone who is interested in playing it, should. From an emotional and memorable story, to brutal and fun brawling combat, to hilarious sub-stories and a ridiculous amount of minigames, Yakuza 0 is just one of the best games I've played from the last decade. Just do yourself a favor and play it.